Welcome to News9 Mediaverse, and you are watching On Point with me. This is a special edition on Manipur violence. There are two parts to my discussion. The first will evaluate what is leading to the killings in the state. How come abductions are still taking place and how innocent civilians have become a casualty in this ethnic strife? And what is the inability of the forces that, despite the entire might of the state being present, that dead bodies surface but not the living people? The second part of the discussion is the meeting that happened between the center and tribal leaders. It is an important development. AK Mishra, the interlocutor, he met tribal leaders. The conversation was long. He's supposed to meet them again. But the fact that he was there and the nitty-gritties were discussed is a good step. But before we start the conversation, let me take you through the details of the case. You see, if I talk about Manipur, 2 bullet-ridden bodies were recovered from Imphal, from 2 different parts. One. The second part is that the bodies recovered were from 2 different locations. The third part is formal identification is yet to be done. The fourth part is that police is trying to trace the remaining abducted people. That's what police is doing. That is one part of the development that has taken place in the last 70 to 80 hours, 90 hours. That's the chronology. Bodies have been sent to Regional Institute of Medical Sciences, and this is because of 2 separate incidents. 2 boys getting missing, and in a car people were pulled out and 1 person got saved and the rest of them got abducted. And these are the 2 people who are missing. So whether it's provocation, counter provocation, I'm not going to get into this, but that's the context I'm putting it on my plate, on my graphics. And then abducted people from KUKI community are also missing. The sources are saying that they belong to those who are abducted, but I would wait for a formal notification by the Manipur police. Let Manipur police formally announce who these people were. Now, important development is that this meeting happened in CHURACHANDPur, and AK Mishra was there. So basically, the Intelligence Bureau, MHA officers and the interlocutor met the ITLF leaders, tribal body leaders. There are multiple, many of them, but basically a meeting took place. And this meeting took place in CHURACHANDPur, which was a ground zero when the violence took place. Apart from that, ITLF discussed the issue of burial site of the dead. I'm being told it's being reported in many newspaper websites, multiple websites, that center said that you need to find another place. So, there was no consensus on this. Now, what happens on this is a different issue. Now, government, as I said, insists that the burial site needs to be changed. But, if you look at the broader picture, you might find these issues minor. But these are the issues on which the deadlock has taken place, because these are sentimental issues. I'm not getting into other details, like even the prisoners of KUKI community were to be transferred to the tribal areas because they felt, they are not safe. Even those demands were part, even those demands were part of the dialogue. So, it's on the minor issues that deadlock took place. It is on these minor issues, and we have held number of discussions on them. And AK Mishra is supposed to meet the tribal leaders once again. So it was a pretty comprehensive meeting that had taken place, and Sioux groups have submitted their demands. And Brijesh, one of the demands is, what about the looted weapon? So the issue of the looted weapon has also come up. And we will show you the visuals of IRB. It's the IRB battalion's armory that was broken into, which made news months ago that a lot of weapons were taken away. And lastly, and most important of all, I would say, that at least the top man from the center is in Manipur. So first I'll go to Brijesh, then I'll play the Biren Singh's bite. What do you think about this top man from Delhi in Manipur, when the state government has taken sort of a hard stand, but AK Mishra is in CHURACHANDPur talking to the tribal body?
Well, I think it's an extension of the kind of off the radar meetings which have been taking place between the tribal communities, between the Maithei communities, and also with the MHA officers, because they want to make sure that a situation or a solution is arrived at which will ensure that the inflamed passions which are running high and running amok in the state of Manipur can be controlled. You very rightly said that that burial site is one issue which has a potential of flaring up and jeopardizing all the work which has been done by centre so far, in case of, at least making an attempt to reach out to the tribal leaders and try to calm the nerves. The state is dead against it. They are saying that they are not going to change the barrel side. But I think it's an important discussion where a list of demand has been put forth by the tribal communities about about the lost weapon, about the weapons which have been looted and has not been recovered by the security forces, and also about certain issues. One key issue which I have been given to understand is also the presence of state police force in the hill area. Remember, Kartikeya, that it was a very big sticky point as far as any kind of dialogue between the government and the tribal leaders.
Okay, wonderful. I am also joined by Hijang Misao, social activist. I am joined by Group Captain retired B. Nandkumar Sharma, spokesperson, Delhi Methi Coordinating Committee, Professor Prasanjit Biswas, Professor of Philosophy, Northeastern Hill University, Shillong, and Major General Ashwani Sivach. A very warm welcome to all of you. But I'll straight away go to Hijang. First of all, let me come straight to the point. What do you make of the meeting of the tribal leaders with Interlocutor AK Mishra?
Thank you so much, Kartikeya, once again for being in the show. It's interesting development, I would say, but at the same time, I'm already fed up with whatever is coming up. Now, why I'm saying I'm already fed up is because when the Meitei civil society organization went to Delhi and met the official or the Home Ministry, they would say separate administration will never be given. But at the same time, when Mishra came to CHURACHANDPUR and meet tribal leaders, and he was also saying that separate administration is possible again. So this kind of double standard role being played by the central government is something which which is why I'm saying I'm really fed up. Now, I would say the violence, the conflict has already almost reached seven months. It is, in fact,
Okay. Okay. So I think we have there's a bit of a technical problem. Mr. Sharma, coming to you, what do you make of the meeting of AK Mishra with the tribal leaders? I was going through the reports. I'll come to you, Misao. You need to fix that connection of yours. It's a pretty comprehensive meeting that has happened.
Yes, meetings are always good. It opens up a way for negotiation and solution. And it's not the first time central government has been negotiating with the tribal communities, especially the KUKI communities. In the past, we have heard from the news print media that in Assam, the initiation taken by the Chief Minister of Assam, they have a series of negotiations with the KUKI leaders, especially with the Sioux groups and the ILTF. And also we have seen Amit Shah ji personally came in the last week of May and had series of meetings in CHURACHANDPUR. And it's a very good step. However, at the same time, I would also urge the central government to engage with the other community, that is Meitei, so that both the points from both the communities are heard. And as the panelists said, AK Mishra has promised a separate administration during this time.
Is it correct?
And the center,
is it correct? Is it correct?
That's what Hajang said.
There are two things. One is he has said, and other is kahi suni ki baat, he said and she said.
Yeah, I am responding to Mr. Hajang's response.
Okay.
So I agree with him, because if center is speaking, it will be given, and at the center it will not be given. It's a double standard. It will create more of a confusion. So it is not a good sign. However, I appreciate the initiative taken by the state government and the central government. Negotiation must go on, though the level of communication and contact between the Meiteis are less as compared with the engagement with the KUKIs. But I would see it in a positive way, because without negotiation we cannot bring peace. This is what I have to say, Kartikeya.
Okay, Hijang, you couldn't complete your argument. Are you there with me? I think there's a bit of a problem. Professor, yes, I'm asking you a different question. Prasanjit, the entire might of the state is present there, and still, the state gets to recover bodies. What I really find is, I am from North India. How is that, these bodies, they were able to execute these two individuals? I mean, say, entire might of the state is there. I mean, so there is an issue there.
Absolutely.
There is an issue there, Professor Prasanjit.
Yes, certainly. This process of killing and counter-killing, the process of targeting the state forces, the process of creating a kind of a safety zone for the state forces by another state force, Assam Rifles rescuing Manipur police, and Manipur police not being trusted in the hill areas. And there is this kind of a breakdown of internal trust. And when you have a breakdown of the internal trust, what do? You have to have an internal agreement. If you do not have an internal agreement, the historical injustices, the structural asymmetries yesterday that I was talking about, 40 seats in one valley area and 20 seats in another hill area. This asymmetrical division of funds, relative deprivation, etc., have come a long way in Manipur. In a democratic way, these issues need to be sorted out. And we need to reorganize certain principles which are consensual, principles on which a lot of debate and discussion can happen, but there is finally an internal agreement that we all should reach at. Now, how that internal agreement can come in a deeply ethnically divided society, in a society where territorial identities are dominating state politics, where you do not have a common platform of discussing the intercultural, interethnic, interreligious issues, and especially when things are imploding every day and you are recovering bodies, killings and counter-killing cycles are going on. So these questions need to be addressed, first of all, by the civil society. And I think the Meitei civil society and KUKI civil society at this point of time must sit across. And it's not just the central government. Central government must be a party to the dialogue. It should become a four-party dialogue. Central government, civil society bodies, state government, and also other actors and other peacemakers have to come together in a process of dialoguing, in a process of finding an internal solution. If we are not able to accomplish this, and if the situation keeps deteriorating, the security situation at some point of time will completely override all other socio-economic and political considerations. Indeed, the questions of civil and social and political rights will be subdued under a kind of a security consideration. The boots on the ground will be romping over the question of political, economic and social rights. So therefore, before security situation goes down so much, it's incumbent upon the state, upon various parties to come together, to initiate dialogues, back-channel dialogue, track-2 dialogues, and try and work out possibility of dialogue by putting oneself in the shoe of the other. The Meitei should put themselves in the shoe of the Kukis, and Kuki people should put themselves in the shoe of the Meiteis. One should empathize with the other, and one should learn from each other how to lead a life of coexistence by aborting this tendency of violence. And this needs to be achieved at the societal level, and then needs to be translated at the level of the state-centric dialogues that we are holding now. And Mr. AK Mishra certainly did a good job by bringing together all the parties.
Professor, I'll come to that part a little later, because it's not about General Siraj, it's not about two bodies. It's like, if you ask me, sociologically, it tells me whose writ runs large in the state. I mean to say, if there's writ of the state, then the meaning is different. You find those two bodies, it's a reflection of whose writ is running in the state. I'm not going to get into were there those part of the group of 4 who were abducted. Though that formal thing has to come out from the police, I'll wait for that. But the fact that 2 bodies have been disposed of in public, it means that instead of say state government, someone else's writ is running large. I read it like this, General Sibaj.
Yeah, Kartike, see, the problem which is coming in Manipur is no doubt the distrust between two communities is still very large, and that gap has not reduced. And as on today, since the society is completely divided and also it is weaponized, whosoever get a chance, they manage to take law in their own hand. Jiski lathi, uski bhains. That is the slogan which is happening. So whosoever, in case the Metis are able to strike on cookies, they do it, and vice versa. The cookies get a chance, they do it on Metis. The problem which is coming is that unfortunately the trust is not coming back. Whatever the trust is there, it is only, one can say, temporary, because there is a buffer zone. Wherever there is no buffer zone, the violence can erupt anytime. Now the question comes is, how do we handle it? How do we bring back this situation to normal? You see, 2-3 things we have been always discussing. There are weapons which are more than 5,000 which were looted and also come from Myanmar, and they are at large in society, and everyone feel empowered that they can use these weapons, and they are doing it on the either side. Now that is a problem one. And until unless we do not get these weapons by doing cordon and search and combing operation, you will not find the peace coming back. And the second thing which is coming is, second issue which is coming is, whatever you do, that the state government forces, are not able to succeed in bringing law and order. I suppose that central government agencies should play a more active role, try to take the situation in their own hand. And third thing is that this step is in right direction. Interlocutor AK Mishra coming from center. All so far deals which has been done, whether it is a Mizoram deal starting from 79 to 84, and then Mizoram Accord was there, also in Assam, Bodo, deal which was there. It is all been handled by the central government because they can see a larger picture, and then they bring all actors and characters together, because the people who are very close to the ground, they only see what is good for them. What is good for the nation has to be seen by someone, wherein you have to do give and take situation. There is no black and white, there are gray, and then you have to bring something which suits both the community. So all said and done, what is happening unfortunately is, so for the confidence of society not there, and whosoever get a chance, whether it is Mati or KUKI, they manage to take law in their own hand, and today they are not afraid of taking law in their own hand. They feel that they can do what they like and they can get away, and they are empowered and they have a weapon. And therefore, they feel equally empowered than the security
General,
forces.
General, it's analogical, it's an analogy I'm giving. It's like 80s Mumbai, it's an analogy. No way it can be compared with Manipur. But when the bodies were discovered, the newspapers would say the gangs were running the city, and police, Mumbai police is out of depth. So similarly, when you recover these bodies, whatever reason, whichever community, the fact of the matter is someone is just getting away with murder. Isn't it, Ms. Howe? You want to comment, General? You want to comment? Please.
I just want to say one thing. You see, the point which is coming in, the central government is trying its best, it's trying to bring a normalcy in the situation. But what you think that at center and what is on the ground are two different things. And what is happening is that the gap is still more. And that I suppose that whatever initiative is taken by the central government of sending Mr. AK Mishra, interlocutor, all tribal together, try to bring out the differences at the least and try to resolve this issue. You see, that the diktats of the tribal leader will play a major role in both these communities. Though they are armed, one is that by combing operation, you try to take this weapon. The second thing is that the diktat of all these community leaders will make a difference in case they sit down together. They are seen in public shaking hands. They are passing some comments which are against the violence, and they show that both the communities are together. I think that will make a tremendous impact on ground. I have handled Northeast quite a bit at many places I have deployed, including in starting from 78 in Mizoram. I could see it, this is the way. And the central government is trying, but I suppose still we are not able to succeed. And on top of that, the problem in this Manipur is Myanmar. The Myanmar is also having a problem
General,
now.
You made a point. You made this point. There's one point on this meeting that has taken place. I'll put that question to all of you. And maybe I'm wrong, but I look at that process of interaction very differently. And one specific issue, imagine that issue has not been resolved. How can other issues be resolved if you can't resolve that issue? Hijam, your opening comments,
Yes, sorry, my connection was very poor.
It's okay.
And it was
not your day.
I was cut off. What I was saying was like the state official coming to Manipur and meeting tribal leader was very interesting and then hopeful development. But at the same time, my question is how much the central government talking with the tribal leaders is reliable and trustworthy. When I'm saying that, when I'm putting up that point,
is there any option not to trust the center? Who will you speak to? Okay, let me be the devil's advocate.
No, what I'm saying,
who will you speak to?
What I'm saying is like, that's true. That's true. Why I'm saying is because when the civil society from the valley base went to Delhi, they said something different. At the same time, when they come to the tribal, they are saying something different. That's why I'm saying, how much are we going to rely much on that? Because I could see when the violence and the conflicts, which lasted almost 7 months, the question is how serious is New Delhi? How serious is the government in bringing peace in the region? When thousands of people are displaced, when every day when life are taken, when we are like taking pride to the entire international picture, saying that we are one of the rising superpower, but at the same time in such a tiny state, which is one of the integral part of India, when its citizens are reeling under such difficulty, crying for help, and when nothing concrete is taken step to politically solve this issue, is something. That's why I was saying. Now, I would put my my hope on this new development, hoping that whatever discussion is taking place will take into a logical conclusion. You were saying like who is running, like on whose greed is the state. Now I would clearly tell you, like when the 1st Battalion Manipur Rifle is just next to the bungalow of the Honorable Chief Minister, and when that battalion was attacked by the radical groups, and this is very unfortunate that in Manipur there is no government and there's no governance at all. And sadly, the radical groups are like, it's more or less like the entire state is run by the radical groups.
Hijang, I would slightly differ. Manipur has a government. You can say there is no governance, but you have a government duly elected. Governance is an issue. But before I go back to all my panelists, let me play out the bite of the Chief Minister Biren Singh.
The Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji guideline advice makada ekoi ji phawgi manungda 399.82 crores masida koino hojik tawgrisi Manipur IT Center for Exam Satra Singidamakta 1,100 notch masigi 11 crore exam thabagi computer kari amamantawagi relief games in the TV television ki kari gate pinar magi the 4.5 crores the prefabricating housing lishing ohum masigi damakta 150 crores Uji prefabricated houses here, Kangla Tongbi gi area da uji 160 family gi Kakubi district amaloire ready hayan se tum hungan me arni adagi ko ITV lokonda 400 family gi amaloire dus lotion me arni aduga Kaku gethel manbi kari gida sakali ba so chabuda sakali bising su koi athubo matamda prefabricated yumsingsi lotion na koi athubra tarokane mayam taurani adigi relief camps in the management 6 months ki hoina akhi mattress blankets aduga RC setup tauba adigi consumable koigi sing hawai kegi pinam gina 101 crores and the hekira kibado adune aduga nutrition in the winter preparedness ki koi angang singi hujikti koi angang sing masana sing sana na ba onana ba the breakfast yerum yo ko yam systematically koi to khara da management da kari da khara masa masulu bolle ga su government ki side ki deputy commissioner sing ki thang da koi best level da sigi yerum sangom kari ga yauna 89.22 crore ki koi madagi total 399.82 crore koi aduga masigi makhada je koi na propose khara makhadri madudi second monetary koi masi manung da koi mi amam da individual families in the listen piba adu anira pigre 1000 adugi madakta koi labor department gi labor card pira kana per family da 5000 people can also be widely Saturday really very displaced persons in special care government na for inga ba tok tok ko su honori huji koi inam thanang na ba kangthon loin pi na ba ge koi process to ho bre na la abani na kangthon thada ba sing jaga sing ko ga mo ekoina huji ekoina mo cannot have proposal target Kenogi second monetary assistance to relief camps in the individuals in the people. Adu 6 crore mane the permanent housing asi apne launch to budori bise sige 360 crores. Aduga second installment for relief camp management 6 months amagi 108 crore maga aduga kogi nupi masasing the relief camp the labor coupon people just cycle the satpa for the kind of the high than 2.5 crore maybe cycle lane in a report of and structure in altogether 476 crores of proposal hard to high state hand run to kind of function to
okay Professor Prasanajit, lot of economic announcement being made, good. I appreciate that. But do you think that that's the panacea for the state? Do you think that you can resolve those next issues? Good, what he has done, good. I appreciate
economic packages are necessary for relief and rehabilitation work. And the work must reach to the hills where many people are impacted, where work also should be done in the valley area equally, without any discrimination. If that kind of a sense of fairness is created, packages are always welcome because that will give more sense of peace and security in the minds of the affected people. Now, apart from that, it should not be just a placebo that you are giving a certain kind of a healing touch. But it should go deeper down and address the issues that are afflicting people really. Why their minds and hearts are not still coming together, why they are remaining so antagonistic to each other. That question needs to be addressed by the state government. Unless that is addressed in a political manner, in a manner that resolves some of the historical issues as well, and in a manner that will strengthen inter-community relation within the state of Manipur, or use all kinds of means of decentralization, devolution, so that people are together, enjoying the same cake and sharing it equally. That sense of sharing needs to be brought back in order to turn people away from arms, from guerrilla attacks, and from this kind of instability that is going on for the last 7 months. Now, who is gaining out of it? It is the state of India that is losing its name, that is losing its capacity, that is losing its legitimacy if such a thing goes on. So the situation needs to be repaired. State and people have to come together at some point or the other. And people also have to come together. So this kind of a riveting of people together, this kind of a bringing the state as a kind of a convergent point, as a point of consensus, by way of dialogue, by way of everyday practices, by way of bringing people together.
Professor
for
Prasanajit, that is what I wanted to ask. That is what I wanted to ask. Mr. Sharma, that's a powerful argument that if economic packages are effectively implemented, they can create a sense of fairness. Very important point. I completely agree. You know, they can create a signal that money and development work is being fairly distributed. But minus political engagement, do you think that it can it work?
I am fully in agreement with you, Kartikeya. Without a political engagement, solution can never bring. If you see, before I forget, I would just like to clarify one of the this asymmetrical distribution of MLA seat mentioned by Professor Prasenjit. He said 20 MLAs for the hills and 40 for valleys or Maitais. It is incorrect information, Mr. Prasenjit. I would like to clarify to you. All the 60 seats can be contested by the tribals or KUKI communities and Naga communities, whereas the Maitai can contest only to the 40 seats. So the disadvantage to the Maitai, as I said earlier also. This one clarification. Secondly, as Kartikeyan said, the political will and the political solutions are very much important. Economic packages have been given as per the government policies in the past also. Presently, the Chief Minister also has announced a lot of packages, and in one of the these things lines he has said is he has catered for next relief camp material for next 6 months. So I see this problem is going to persist for next 6 months. So the center and the state government is not visualizing, or they are not seeing a solution in next 6 months. This is very sad and disheartening for me.
But why do you say next 6 months? Why do you say next 6 months?
I don't know. That's what the CM Biren said. He has catered for the relief material for next 6 months. So that is a little bit disheartening.
You have picked it from there. Next 6 months.
Yes. So it's a little disheartening. And let me give me 30 seconds more.
Go ahead. I think you picked it up. Okay. Next 6 months.
And secondly, if economic packages is going to be the solution for all these conflicts, I think that the SU groups, as suspension operation groups, has been imposed for the last 18 years. The cadres have been paid right now 6,000 per cadre, and also they have been given a lot of vocational trainings. However, the security advisor of the Manipur has mentioned in time and again, the SU groups, some of the cadres or many are missing from the camps during this crisis. So they these economic packages and these policies have failed. It's completely failed to bring them into the mainstream. So the economic packages are not going to help this crisis. So the political will, especially by the center, as many panelists said, the center is trying to solve this crisis, but I don't see they are making a serious attempt, because it's 6 months down the line, people are dying, still firings are on, and there are 70,000, almost 70,000 central forces and 45,000 central state forces. Still the crises are not controlled. The law and order is as bad as earlier or worse than earlier, you can say. So seriousness by the center must be shown, and it should be seen in the ground, as we would like to see a peaceful prevailing very soon. Kartikeyan.
Brijesh, are we reading too much into the 6 months thing?
Well, I think, more than 6 months thing, one has to be very clear about it, that yes, it's a welcome step, but is it enough? No, it is not. It's more like a stopgap arrangement, because the fact of the matter is that, yes, it's a band-aid, it provides relief, all that is understandable. It's an equidistribution of material all across both hill and state is all right. But is it going to solve anything? No, it is not going to solve anything. Because until and unless the law and order situation is reined in, until and unless the state is at the top of the law and order situation, these bullet-riddled bodies are basically a very cruel reminder of the fact that you may have, in your mind, you may have thought that you have made the leap. But unfortunately, the time is still stuck there. There is no movement
just
forward.
Tell you who's calling the shots. You see,
that is very clear. Kartikeya, the fact is, bullet-riddled bodies is part 2. The fact that from a security naka, or the fact that, the guns can be looted, the fact that, the security naka, people can be abducted and run away, and then later bodies are found and all. It's a very clear signal as to whose writ is running large as far as state is there.
Basically what it tells you, administrative machinery has broken down on ethnic lines. So, there is a semblance which an administration create. Ki police aa gayi, fauj aa gayi, army aa gayi, government officers aa gayi.
That thing is not there at all. Not there
that has fractured, Brijesh, completely.
Not at all there. We may try, as we should. We may try to see maximum positive of a situation, but a very realistic, pragmatic situation tells you that it is there where it was.
Because it's not about two
much
bodies.
has changed at
It's
all.
not about two bodies. It's a statement.
Absolutely.
It's a
That's what
statement.
I'm
You know,
saying.
you can have a statement of one line. It's not about two bodies. I completely agree with you. But you know, Hijang Misa wanted to say something. You know, before I move to a finer point of that AK Mishra meeting, you know, that has stuck in my mind. Hijang.
Kadiki, when we believe that economic package could be the solution, I would say we totally fail to understand the ground realities. When if it's something like a crying child asking for something and then trying to give sweets. So when we believe economic package would bring solution to what the vexed political problems in Manipur, I think it's we fail to understand the whole scenario. What we are saying now is like the level of discriminatory treatment towards the KUKI zone. What we said is like the only solution is separate administration. Now, while we are saying that, I think we have already seen the chronological events which is taking place in Manipur. Especially when I'm saying there's no government, no governments. Why I'm saying is because the government could be for the valley people, but for the hill people, we believe there's no government because the existing state forces, which is meant to protect its citizen, is selectively used for one particular community, and it's against particular community. When the sub-inspector on command was shot dead, no vote from the chief minister, whereas one security forces was killed in More, immediately there are lots of packages doled out for that family. So this kind of selective and discriminatory treatment is the reason why the entire KUKI community is saying economic package is not the solution, but separate administration, which require, as Sarmaji was saying, strong political will from the central. That is the only way.
You see, Hijang, you know, that's a different debate. You would have noticed I have stopped doing debates on separate administration because separate administration is not an LOC. The point is, what will happen? You know, will Kukis and Maitis will not travel from one part of the state to another part of the state. It means if there is a Maiti traveling to a Kuki area, will he be picked off and killed? Or if it's a Kuki or Maiti is traveling to Kuki area, will he be picked off and killed? My point is that, boss, separate administration is a political issue of self-governance, actualization of communities' aspiration. But not being able to travel to other parts of the country where you are not a dominant majority is a threat to the idea of Indian unity. That's how I see it. I see it from the India-centric context. I don't see it from a Delhi-centric context. I see it from India-first context. But General Sivaj, coming to you, it's very good this dialogue has taken place. But they have not been able to resolve the issue of burial site. I recall you were there in that discussion, Brajesh was there, that the burial site issue has come up. It has been, and I was stunned when I was going through reports on website. That issue remains. Burial site issue has not been resolved. You can't resolve a burial site issue. What sort of bigger issue will you resolve? This is the question at the end of the show I want to ask everyone. Burial site का issue आप नहीं resolve कर सकते हैं. You expect to resolve the issue of KUKI Maiti ethnic strife? Unbelievable.
See, the point is that two issues. One, earlier you were saying that is the economic package requirement. See, economic package is a must. Unless you don't give an economic package, how are the people going to survive in the relief camp? Having said so, as far as this burial site is concerned, it is a sticking point. I suppose we should not read too much. We should try to resolve. Mr. AK Mishra, interlocutor, again must speak with both the sides, Mathis and KUKI. Of course, it looks to be a very simple problem, maybe complex because both sides are not ready to accept it. They must find a solution. It is not where you can't find a solution. You have to find solution to these problems. How long you can allow, two communities having an ethnic divide to an extent that they are ready to kill each other whenever they meet? That is not going to be accepted in a country like India. So I suppose that the point is that a time is not far off. They will find out some solution. But the sending Mr. AK Mishra as an interlocutor by the central government it is a step in the right direction. He's trying to bring this ethnic community together. Tribal leaders have to be together. In case the communities see the tribal leaders together of Metis and Kuki, that will bring some sort of confidence. That has to come up. And my again one point is that until unless you do not disarm this society which is armed to their teeth, to get a peace is very, very difficult. You have to do combing operation. You have to do cotton search. Get this weapon outside, out of them. You know, there are 6,000 to 7,000 weapons still at large in society. Everyone feel empowered. Drop of the head, you use weapon. And they are not afraid of security forces because they are equally armed and they are equally trained. So this is the biggest problem. So why, first of all, until you don't bring out these weapons from society, the society will remain always charged. That is one. Second thing is, the problem may not be here only, it also lies in Myanmar. Try to seal this border between Myanmar and Manipur. It is a requirement of the day, and the western portion of Myanmar is already in trouble. They have now attacked on the military junta.
Point taken, sir. Mr. Nandakumar, I mean to say, what is happening? You can't resolve the issue of burial site. But we are talking about big things. You know, every other thing I appreciate. He has gone there. There's a picture that has been clicked. It has been, you know, I don't have the credit for the picture. I can't show it, you know. So that's a different story. But the fact of the matter, it's everywhere. Every discussion has taken place. But you can't resolve the issue of burial site. You can't resolve this issue. What other issues will you take up?
Yes, I agree with you, Kartikan. It's very sad. Even the burial site issue has not been able to resolve by the state government or central government. Why is this? Say it is.
Why? My question is why?
Why? Because the site, if you see the community-wise in a very minute way, the burial site actually belongs to Valley, the Meitei community, and it feels a source of encroachment by the Kuki community, and the same can be done in any other parts of the Kuki dominated areas. That's the main point, and these Kukis should understand, and the government should also be able to convince them. However, if such things are not able to convince, then it's very difficult to further continue with the negotiation. And secondly, as General Saab has said, the security forces are not afraid by the arms group. Why? Because actions has not been taken against them. And I'll repeat once again, because of
that, I agree.
Suspension of operation agreement, where you are supporting the arms group. That's why they are not afraid. You are supporting them, so they will not be afraid. Whereas other communities.
But Mr. Nandakumar, you know, it's not only Sioux group. The ringleaders of violence from all the communities have not been brought to the book. You know, yes, action has been taken, but the ringleaders who have orchestrated this entire thing are not there. Ejang, your comments on this burial site issue?
I'll just finish that in seconds. Sioux is abrogated, 90% of the problems will solve, because many of these things, arms groups are sheltering under the pretext of suspension of operation. So, Kartiken, you can carry on.
Okay. Your response, Ms. Howe? Professor? Your response? Yes.
Very briefly, you see, burial site is a sensitive matter. And if a community wants his dead to be buried in a certain place, you know, the other community must accommodate because there should be this humanitarian concern. Certain humanitarian issues should be above this kind of community divide. And I think the larger community has a larger responsibility here. So that's just a pointer, but it will depend on the situational context. It will depend on goodwill, friendship, and also mutual understanding. That should be extended to each other. That should be the approach from both the sides. But the other important issue that I was harping, see, the political power also needs to be evenly distributed, just as relief has to be evenly distributed. So how we are distributing the present available resources is a very important concern. No one should be considered as an alien or an encroacher. If we use that kind of a language, actually our moral legitimacy goes down. If we have to establish peace, we have to accept people as they are. And in accepting them, we facilitate the way of mutual understanding and bringing a certain kind of a dialogue and self-esteem back in themselves. So that process has to be carried out at a social psychological level. And that is completely missing here. And therefore, all the pending issues of conflict and differences of opinion are repeatedly cropping up, resulting into a further
that's a very good point.
accentuation of the conflict.
I think that's a very good point, Professor Prasannaji. Brijesh, the issues, the pending issues, I think I completely agree with him. Most of the issues are pending, it's like the pending list is getting bigger.
It's not most of the issues. Almost all the issues are pending. And the biggest problem is right now, Karthikeya, what is happening is that the political language is not conciliatory. The political language is not conciliatory. The political language is not factoring in the hurt feeling of both sides. It has to talk about Manipur as one.
Correct.
Unfortunately, that is not happening.
Okay. And now, I think all my panelists, whether it's Mr. Sharma, whether Misao or General Sivachan Prasanjit have made powerful points, very powerful points on this. But what I feel, Brijesh, one, and I would like, at the end of it, I would say, the state needs to demonstrate that their writs run large. One.
Absolutely.
And the second thing is, conversation cannot be endless. Conversation for conversation's sake doesn't work. I really don't want to get into other sort of conversations which are taking place in Northeast or with other groups. Conversation works when you have a desired end within a framework of time which both sides decide. It can be months, it can be years, but it has to be put on table. But it has to be done in a way where people can see that, well, I see light at end of the tunnel. This suspended animation cannot be there to be felt by people of the state that it's in perpetuity. It's going to last longer. Before, we talk about any other thing, let's listen to the bite of Manipur Chief Minister, in which he is talking about the initiatives that he has taken to at least resolve the economic stress that civil strife has taken on the health of Manipur.
The Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji ki guideline to my advice makada ekoi ji phaugi manungda 399.82 crores we masida koino hojik tawgrisi Manipur IT center for exam chhatra singi damakta 1100 notch masigi 11 crore ma exam thabagi computer kari ama tawbagi adigi relief camps in the TV television gi kari gate the pinar ma da 4.5 crores ma the prefabricating housing lishingohum masigi damta 150 crores uji prefabricated houses se Kangla Tongbi gi area da uji koi 160 family gi KUKI district amma loire ready hayan se tum hungan me arni adagi koi ITV lokonda 400 family gi amma loire adu lotion me arni aduga KUKI gethel manbi kari gida sakali ba society sakali bising su koi athuba matamda prefabricated yum singsi lotion na koi athuba tarokane mayam taurani adagi relief camps in the management 6 months ki oina koi mattress blankets aduga RC setup tauba adagi consumable koi seng hawai kai ki pinam gina 101 crores ahan bale hepira kibado adune aduga nutrition in the winter preparedness ki koi angang sing gi hujikti koi angang sing masana sing sana na ba the breakfast, systematically, the management the Masamasul, the government side the commissioners in best level the Sigi Yerum Sangom Yauna 89.22 crore total 399.82 crores. Aduga masigi makada je koi na propose khara khagri madudi second monetary koi masi manungda koi mi amam the individual families in the listen piba adu anira pigre 1000 adugi madakta koi labor department gi labor card pira kana per family the 5000 piba gi kano so koi yalla widely sathari aduna relief to the displaced persons in special care government na Honorary Husi koi inam thanang na ba kangthon loy na pina na bagi koi process to ho bre na la abani na kangthon thada ba sing jaga sing ko aduga mu ekoina husi ekoina mu kaino ta husi proposal thagri si kaino gi second monetary assistance to relief camps in the listing individuals in the people. Adu 6 crore mane the permanent housing asi apna launch ta udori bise sigi 360 crores. Adu ka second installment for relief camp management 6 months amagi 108 crore maga. Adu ka gi nupi masasing the relief camp da leba copan pibsa sing cycle da kari da satpa potpang da khane ka di haidane ko 2.5 crore magi cycle line na magi port me koi and structure in altogether 476 crores in proposal hard to high bisi koi state gi han koi run to kano function to ho bodo be aduna koi
Israel at war. The big coverage only on News 9 Live.